Welcome to the Battle of Fredericksburg, Generals. I know your time is valuable, so thank you for taking the time to review my materials related to the game. I hope you find something to help you succeed in your campaigns. Do not hesitate to ask questions in the comments. Please be aware that Colonel, Brigadier General, and Major General difficulties all share an AI profile. Legendary has its own profile. Therefore, things that you see me do should easily translate to lower difficulties but may not work in Legendary or be suboptimal. There are two distinct points of value in every battle: the camp screens and the battle itself. As most of you probably know, the J&P Rebalance Mod version 1.29 has been released, and battles are updated through Stones River. My camp screens will have limited value because 1.29 has size tiers, which did not exist in 1.28. For example, I have 1,000-man skirmisher units here, but in 1.29, the default tier is limited to 500-man units. However, I used an early test version of the Fredericksburg battle when I played it, so this should still be representative of what you'll see in 1.29. The phases, timers, when and where units deploy, and how the battle unfolds should remain the same. So when we last left our heroes, they were fighting at Perryville, where Heath and Brewster both received their 3rd star, and McClernand earned his 2nd. I took 60 units to Antietam, but I'll be taking 90 to Fredericksburg. Since my career point from Iuka went into Army organization to get it to 9, that gave me a 5th division for each corps. I created some training brigades before Perryville so they could get their 1st star before heading into Fredericksburg. The 2nd Corps has a cavalry squadron and 4 dedicated skirmishers. The 3rd Corps has 4 minimum infantry brigades. The 4th Corps had 5 artillery batteries. I then put my 5th point from Perryville into Army organization, so it's now at 10, and that gives me a 5th Corps. Having 10 in AO also gives me the maximum 20% unit restore of missing men after battles from organization. It is 2% per career point. Whereas medicine immediately restores a portion of your wounded back to their units, Army organization can restore 20% of your missing men. If you also had 100 in unit command, it can restore an additional 20% of missing men after battles, for a total of 40% returned. As a percentage, your missing soldiers tend to be the smallest group among your casualties, so the effect isn't nearly as dramatic as medicine, but every little bit helps. Fredericksburg is the first battle where we can deploy 125 possible brigades if we wanted to. I'm going to use 90 across my 5 corps. Why only 90 and not 125? Well, there's only 3 battles in the entire campaign where you can field 125 units. Those are Fredericksburg, Cold Harbor, and Richmond. I can only take 60 to Stones River, 90 to Chancellorsville, 75 to Gettysburg, and 50 each to Chickamauga and Muleshoe. If I created 125 units, a lot of them are going to be sitting around in camp doing absolutely nothing other than increasing AI scaling for the next 13 battles. Additionally, I'm unable to move units around in camp because all the slots are filled. I don't want to do that, so it's just my personal choice. Looking at the available deployments, 75 is roughly the sweet spot, and that corresponds exactly to 3 corps. Therefore, I prefer to focus on developing 3 good corps and then supplementing with reserves in the 4th and 5th whenever it's beneficial. More than likely, I'll end up cannibalizing about 15 of my units to reduce them down to 75. Since those 15 units will have fought in a battle, they'll have better stats than my recruits, but not as good as my veteran pool. So once I've used up my veteran pool rebuilding my army, I'll probably disband the 15 least experienced units and then use those lower quality vets to top off the last of my units for future battles. Later on, I'll go all out to finish the campaign to maximize units going into Cold Harbor and Richmond. All that said, there is one reason that you may want to keep a full 4th or 5th Corps of reserves. Although you can't deploy 4 or 5 corps to most of the grand battles coming up, you can swap out corps or units in multi-days battles. For example, if one of your first 3 corps took heavy casualties on day 1, you can swap out the 4th or 5th Corps in the deploy screen for the next day of battle. It's not something that I usually do, but it's a legitimate option to keep healthy units on the field. Typically, I would jump right into camp and show you my army configuration for the battle. However, Fredericksburg has some interesting deployment characteristics that I'd like to exploit. Therefore, it'll make much more sense if I explain how the deployments work first for each of the 4 phases of the battle. Phase 1 starts with your attack on Prospect Hill in the Southern Forest. The yellow box represents the map area for this phase, which is important to note for later reference. You must take 2 corps to this phase, specifically the main attack and second wave deployment slots. My first corps will be the main attack. This corps will only fight at Prospect Hill. I have 25 units in this corps with 10 infantry, 10 artillery, and 5 detached skirmishers. I will have a mix of melee and accuracy infantry units. Most of the artillery batteries are smooth bores with just a few rifled guns, because my best rifled gun batteries will be deploying to Marie's Heights. My avatar commands the first corps and has accuracy perks at Tier 1 and 2 and the cover perk at Tier 3. Mathematically, cover is direct damage reduction in the mod, so that is my preferred Tier 3 corps commander perk. However, Tier 3 auras can stack if they have different types, so other corps commanders will have the experience and morale reduction perks. I'm taking 35,000 in supply. Grant has the 1st Division. Milroy and Keyes are both double melee perked with good melee weapons. Caruth has double accuracy perks with Lorenz rifles. Walton and Woods have 24-pound howitzers with the horse, close combat, and rapid fire specialist perks. My second coming of John Gibbon has the 2nd Division. Cochran has an accuracy perk with Lorenz rifles. Jackson and Garland have melee perks and weapons. Prentice and Bryan have a horse perk with their 12-pound howitzer batteries. Hooker has the 3rd Division. Foreman, Law, and Cruft have an accuracy perk. Crawford has 20-pound parrots, and Romano has ordnance rifles, both with improved shell perks. Hancock has the 4th Division. Coltes has an accuracy perk. Ruggles has a horse perk and the 12-pound howitzers. Bryan has a horse perk with Napoleons. Atkinson and Diaz are both pickets. Kowalski has the 5th Division. Brayton has 24-pound howitzers with a horse perk. Manning has 6-pounders with a canister perk. Robertson, Powell, and Pleasanton are all pickets. My second corps will be the second wave. If I do it right, this corps will fight in Phase 1, 3, and 4 by exploiting the map locations before each phase change. This corps only has 15 units, which are my best dedicated skirmishers, and 4 cavalry squadrons. The second wave deploys further away than the main attack. They need to surge forward to link up with the first corps, fight for most of Phase 1, then with about 30 to 40 minutes left in the phase, they will draw and move to the left center of the map near the railroad tracks to spawn into Phase 3. Abrams has my second corps with 2 accuracy perks and the experience gain perk. I'm not taking any supply with his corps since they'll be moving around the field, and they'll use supply from the other corps. Pleasanton has the 1st Division. Edwards, Abrams, Bryan, Porterfield, and Breckinridge are all light infantry with the cover and speed bonuses. Thus, the LI is next to their name. Dowd has the 2nd Division. Thoburn has double accuracy perks with Burnside carbines. Fry has Colts with double melee perks. Oakley has Palmettos with a melee perk. Griffin has Sharps carbines with an accuracy perk. And Van Dorn is a light infantry skirmisher. Burnside has the 3rd Division. This will be the first battle in this campaign where you can see a 3-star dedicated skirmisher with Sharps rifles go to work. Brewster has the pickets, Zow waves, and sharpshooter perks that provide 50% stealth, 50% spotting, 50% cover, 70% accuracy, 25% speed, and 20% increased range. This is one of the more powerful build combinations in the mod. It just takes time to get dedicated skirmishers up to 3 stars, and the Sharps rifles are a scarce resource. Plus, by taking pickets at Tier 1, you don't get extra speed until Tier 3, so they are susceptible to being run down and charged by AI cavalry. However, once they reach Tier 3, their fire is so deadly that they can rout almost anything that's charging at them before it can close the distance to get into melee with them. The Tarpley and Burnside carbines are also good options for this configuration. You sacrifice about 170 on the range, but you nearly double your fire rate. Sherman has J.F. Browns with the 525 range and light infantry and Zalvoy's perks. Once he gets his 3rd star, he'll be close to Brewster in effectiveness. With the light infantry perk, he gains more speed and cover bonuses, but loses 35% accuracy. The J.F. Browns also fire much slower, which burns unit condition. Henselman and Colties are like Sherman, but with 53 Enfields. Garish is a new light infantry unit. Phase 2 moves to Marie's Heights. You must take a corps in the secondary attack slot. If you take a reserve corps in the left slot, it'll also deploy at the same time as the secondary attack. This gives you 2 full corps to crack open Marie's Heights. My high-level strategy here is to have 1 corps hold Fredericksburg from AI counterattacks while the other corps moves to the far north and then sweeps south down into Marie's Heights. My 3rd corps will be the secondary attack with 11 infantry, 10 artillery, and 4 cavalry units. My 4th corps will be the left reserve slot with 7 infantry, 4 dedicated skirmishers, and 9 artillery batteries. Most of my rifled guns will be at Marie's Height with some smoothbores for infantry support. McClellan has the 3rd corps with 2 accuracy perks and the morale damage reduction perk. I'm taking 40k in supply to help feed all the artillery batteries. French has the 1st Division. Reynolds, Loomis, and Franklin are all double accuracy perked. Baxter and MacArthur are 6-pounders with horse perks. McDowell has the 2nd Division. Ridgway, Slocum, and Merritt are all accuracy units. Torres and Scales are both 20-pound Parrott batteries with improved shells and counter battery perks. Kelly has the 3rd Division. Hardy, Bidwell, and Lane are accuracy perks. Ziegler has Napoleons with a horse perk. Heath is a 3-star unit with James rifles. Typically, James rifle batteries are the only ones that I give the fire direction skills perk. The James is a utility gun that gives benefits in all ranges, so the 15% accuracy in all ranges from fire direction drills just enhances that utility characteristic that much more. Since they fire at long range most of the time, the improved shells make sense. Then the rapid fire gives them some speed to make up for not having the horse perk at Tier 1. Robertson has the 4th Division. Jones has double accuracy perks. All 4 cavalry units have accuracy perks. Nicholas and Kemper have Sharps carbines. Bailey and Haskell have Smith carbines. Carroll has the 5th Division. Stahl has double accuracy perks. DeVries has 24-pound howitzers and a horse perk. Roberts, Laurent, and Longstreet all have Napoleons with horse perks. Our old friend Louis Wagner has the 4th Corps with double accuracy and cover perk. Again, I'm taking 38,000 in supply to help feed out the artillery batteries. Schimmelfang has the 1st Division. Weaver has a melee perk and weapon. Law and Cooper are accuracy perks. Stafford has the 4.5-inch siege guns, and McClernand has the Whitworths. Both have the improved shells and counter battery perks. Sumner has the 2nd Division. Cooper and Thrash are melee units. Potter is an accuracy unit. Osborne has 20-pound Parrots with improved shells and counter battery perks. Lepian has ordnance rifles with the improved shell perk. Crazy Krasnowski has the 3rd Division. Ruger has James rifles with the improved shell perk. Tanner has Napoleons with a horse perk and counter battery perk. Randall has 10-pound Parrots with the improved shells perk. Mager has light infantry with captured 56 Enfields for the 500 range. McCarver has pickets and Zalvoys with the captured DN&Cs. Campbell has the 4th Division. Anderson has an accuracy perk. Stevens has 24-pound howitzers with a horse perk. Rasmere has 6-pounders with a canister perk. Bragg is a picket, and Schweitzer is a picket with Zalvoy's perk. Phase 3 continues the assault at Marie's Heights while opening the Telegraph Road area. My 3rd and 4th Corps will still be fighting at the Heights. Assuming that I placed my 2nd Corps in the correct area, they will appear in the southeast corner of the map, ready for action. My 5th Corps will also join the fight. About 10 minutes after the phase starts, you'll start to see the blue dots appear on the mini-map as the 5th Corps marches onto the field. I cannot say whether all of 5th Corps arrives at the same time and place, since I only have one division in that corps. But I know that the division arrives south of Fredericksburg and northeast of the Telegraph Road VP. My original version of John Gibbon has the 5th Corps with double accuracy and a cover perk. Douglas has the only division. Appler, Porter, Sedgwick, Cake, and Kilpatrick are all 1-star pickets. Their purpose is to help 2nd Corps clear the area around Telegraph Road and then move with 2nd Corps to attack Marie's Heights from the south. You have a decision to make in Phase 3. The Fredericksburg battle has 3 victory points. However, the battle ends when the contested timer expires for any 2 of the 3. In Phase 3, you can easily take both Marie's Heights and Telegraph Road VPs and end the battle without going into Phase 4 and continuing the fight at Prospect Hill. I haven't done it, but if I were trying to get out of the battle with the fewest number of casualties possible, I'd probably lay low at Prospect and not get into heavy fighting. I'd take Fredericksburg in Phase 2 but not assault Marie's Heights. I would let my heavy guns hammer the Heights for all the Phase 2. I'd have a larger force come in with my 5th Corps in Phase 3, and then take Telegraph and sweep north into Marie's Heights to capture that VP and end the battle. But I'm not going to do that. I'm taking all 3 VPs and killing as many AI forces as possible. I'm not here to win the battle, I'm here to annihilate the enemy. So here's what I'm going to do. When Phase 3 starts, I'll clear out all the forces around the Telegraph VP without actually capturing it. My 3rd and 4th Corps will attack the Heights from multiple sides like a hammer and an anvil, while 2nd and 5th Corps move north to intercept any fleeing AI units and apply pressure to the southern fortifications. Once I take the Marie's Heights VP, I'll march as many men as possible south to cross the river here. Again, I'm exploiting the map for phase changes. Any unit south of the river will be on the map in Phase 4 to march down to Prospect to help my 1st Corps. Any units that do not cross the river are finished fighting for the day. The Phase 4 map includes the Telegraph Road and Prospect Hill VPs, and Marie's Heights is closed off. My 1st Corps will continue attacking Prospect Hill from the east side. My fast-moving 2nd Corps will move southwest and attack Prospect from the west. Many of the units that fought at Marie's Heights need to rest, so they might not make it to Prospect at all. But the units that are in good condition will start moving southeast to attack Prospect from the north. I'll leave a couple of units close to Telegraph and capture it at the same time that I take Prospect, and then quickly finish off the AI units before the contested timers expire. That's my plan anyway, so let's get this battle started. Understand that in a multi-day battle, you will only see the forces that you face on the first day, so what's displayed right now means absolutely nothing. The rebalance mod skips the short pontoon invasion of Fredericksburg the evening of the 11th. Instead, you'll fight your way into the city in Phase 2. Now we have a better idea of what we're facing. 91,164 soldiers and 257 guns for the CSA before unit splits. I have 71,352 soldiers and 249 guns. The 1st Corps has 2 deployment boxes. I place my slower moving units into the southern box to help everyone get into place quicker. I will then move the 2nd Corps to the left of the deployment box to reduce the distance traveled. I will speed this up so it doesn't take forever. I assume that most people watching this video have some experience with the base game, therefore you know that grand battles get bigger and bigger as the campaign progresses. In the Union campaign, Shiloh was about 3.5 hours. Gaines's Mill, Malvern Hill, and Second Bull Run were all about 2 hours, and Antietam was 4 hours. Well, Fredericksburg is just under 6 hours of video footage, with each of the 4 phases being an hour and a quarter to an hour and 3/4. A big reason for this is that the Rebalance mod's normal speed is 2/5 of the speed of the base game. This is mainly due to the increased difficulty in giving players time to react to game situations. I won't be cutting any of the action or quickly transitioning between battles. However, when no combat's taking place or I'm issuing orders to my units, I'll speed things up in editing. A portion of viewers just want to see the highlights and overview strategy, while other viewers want to see every single click and know exactly why I did specific things. But trying to give both audiences what they want can be a little bit of a trick. Lastly, I've reached a point where I rarely pause anymore when playing, but that was not yet the case in this video. You should start to notice that more when we reach Gettysburg. A major challenge of this mod is dealing with the 15 to 20,000 cavalry the AI will deploy in the battle. Many of them are guarding the southern woods, so I will first set up a defense with my melee infantry and artillery. Then I will push into the woods with a few units to engage. I will use the natural barrier of the river to set up a defensive, and then dip my toe into the spooky woods and see how many enemy cavalry want to come get me. Let's get the 3-star 24-pound howitzer batteries up here to help welcome the rebels. My melee infantry are in the front ranks. They can't really shoot worth a damn, but they can hold their own if they get charged. There are just a ridiculous number of AI cavalry in the woods that we need to push out. I didn't hear a bugle, but I definitely hear horses running, so somebody's charging. There they are. Baker's charging. Time to concentrate my firepower. I will countercharge in short bursts. I call it burst charging. This keeps the cooldown timer very short so I can charge again soon, and it also prevents the unit from burning through condition from longer charges. Sherman and Brewster will move up with Jackson and Milroy. Here comes the next charge. My cavalry are smaller and likely less experienced, so I need to keep them safe. I want to keep them working as a group to support the infantry and skirmishers. My guys are going to be constantly firing for much of this first phase from now on. Now remember that second corps is only here to help the first corps eliminate the AI cavalry and then get ready to set up for the assault on Prospect Hill later. Once this phase starts to run out of time, the second corps will pull out and prepare for the transition to the third phase. I'm not in a hurry in this phase. As long as the AI keeps coming out to meet me, I'm happy to stay grouped and use concentrated fire to do as much damage as possible. The AI is getting impatient and bringing infantry out into the open to be slaughtered. We have multiple charging melee cavalry coming up. I don't think their morale will stay high long enough to do much damage. We are 1 hour into the first phase and Brewster is over 1,100 kills and has lost 12 men. So how's that for a kill ratio? I assume that most of these units are on their third or fourth charge up to my line, so their morale is about wrecked. When AI units are already wavering when they get into melee, I'm not even going to countercharge because I don't want to waste a condition. I'm just trying to rout them and drive them back right now. The AI cavalry are starting to melt away. Most have 50% casualties now. So I'll bring up my guns over the river and start to push down towards the road. Brewster has over 2,000 kills with 16 losses. The rarity of the 59 Sharps rifle presents these dedicated skirmisher types from overpowering the game, but once I can pair two of them with Sherman's J.F. Brown's light infantry, they will do a lot of damage as a group. Most of the time, charging units cannot close the distance to reach them before they're routed, so a large group of cavalry and heavy rifled guns are really their only threat. hour left. I need to get moving with the rest of my first corps to set up for their assault on Prospect Hill when we come back to here in Phase 4. Jones's morale is still confident, so I'll countercharge until he routs. AI artillery is reaching my right flank, so I should probably pull some of these guys back. I'm going to start pulling out some of my second corps so they're in position to be on the field for Phase 3. Garland's routed, so I need to commit my melee cavalry now. Brewster's still over 100 to 1 on his kill ratio, but I'm going to pull him out. I would have liked to push further down than the road, but it's fine. Phase 4 provides a long timer. You want to close the river and be near the railroad tracks to make it into Phase 3. need to reattach some of these skirmishers before they shatter and cause more losses. Alright, it's on to Phase 2 and the Assault Armory's height. I will get that posted for you as soon as possible. Thank you for spending some of your valuable time watching today. I hope you found something useful for your campaigns, and I wish you much success, Generals.